I want to help people understand that they can do it. I want them to actually imagine themselves into their bright, beautiful future because they learn some steps that will guide them and get them there. And so this type of subject matter I think helps with that because that's where it all begins. You have to imagine it. The power of the imagination is like without that we're just what are we?
If you can't actually, if you can't see yourself being able to accomplish something, right? See yourself changing into the type of person that learns the correct step-by-step processes, has this foundation, right? Change your own beliefs to become this individual that is the CEO of their whole life. Right? If you can't imagine that possibility, chances that you achieve it are essentially zero. Everybody, welcome back to another episode of Journey to Legacy. My name is Wayne Veldsman. Today, we're diving back in with someone super exciting. Troy Noonan is back, the creator and founder of Backpack Trader. If you've ever wondered if it's possible to actually build sustainable wealth without burning out as a trader, or if you've wondered if trading could even give you more freedom instead of stress in your life, this is an interview that you definitely want to hear. Mr. Troy Noonan has been in the game for over 30 years, and he's helped thousands of people across the world trade smarter, not harder. What I really love about Troy is that he's not chasing hype or becoming an overnight success. He's built a lifestyle system that works, and he teaches others to do the same. In this episode, we get real about what it takes to build freedom on your own terms, the myths that keep people stuck, and obviously, we talk about what legacy really means when you stop chasing and you actually start designing your own life. You all are going to enjoy this episode a whole lot. Let's jump on in with Mr. Troy Noonan of Backpack Trader. Nice. Well, Troy, so tell me more about this metaphor for risk as a power tool.
Oh, risk is a power tool. Well, first of all, risk is the thing that hurts people the most when they're trading. They don't know how to apply their money properly. They either put too large of a position on, or they don't plan their trade where they know when they're going to cry uncle, like when they're going to stop out of the trade with a small loss if the trade doesn't go their way, and that also indicates a lot of things that the trader needs to work on because what we find is that people are trading for the wrong reason. They're not trading to make money. They're trading to avoid losses, or they're trading to prove how smart they are, even though they don't realize it consciously. Subconsciously, their actions indicate that. So it all stems from risk, though, because risk makes you do some weird things. When you're placing a trade, you're placing a trade hoping something's going to happen in the future, right? And so
Mhm.
right there, as soon as you place a trade, forget how much money you have at risk on that trade, but just the idea that you're trading into an uncertain future makes you do what human beings do, and that's to run away from anything that's perceived as a threat against you, right? Because
Yeah,
if you don't know
yeah,
what's going to
sure.
happen, that's threatening. You're insecure. And so that's an inherent problem with trading for people. So you have to train yourself how to evolve beyond that. And that's one of the things that I'm good at teaching. I have a step-by-step program that shows people exactly how to do that. You have to go through these steps. But the very pure essence of risk, like risk as a power tool, as a metaphor, if you think about, well, we need risk. Like you can't make money
Mhm.
without it when you're trading. You have to have risk, but what's the right amount and how do you deal with it? So there's a respect you have to give it. You have to understand that the risk aspect of your trade has to be carefully thought out and done properly, or it could really hurt you. So the metaphor is, I always talk about my dad, who's a retired contractor, right? He was great at building custom homes in his day, and he could swing a hammer better than anyone. He could bang those nails down in one swipe, and it was amazing to watch him, right? I ended up with a purple thumb because I'd miss and hit my finger, and That was the end of my construction career. But the point is that then the new generation, his competition grew up and started competing, new businesses, but they weren't swinging a hammer. They were using a hydraulic nail gun, right? So they could
Mm.
build a house 10 times faster, except for the person that was so zealous, didn't bother to learn how to use the nail gun. Then they end up with a nail in their toe or worse, right? So it's like the hydraulic nail gun is a great tool if you know how to use it, but if you don't know how to use it, it could really hurt you. So that's a good metaphor to what risk is like, or even a power saw. You can cut wood really fast, but if you don't know how to use it, you might end up with, one hand short of a full body, cut your hand off. So is and
I love that.
yeah, and it's not the power tool's fault. It's the user's fault. So trading's the same way.
Mm.
Trading's the same way. And risk is like there's three components to getting trading right. I always use the metaphor of the three-legged stool, right? And if you take one leg, the stool topples over. And with the first leg, I always describe it as being your strategy, your method of trading, okay, your technique. And the second leg is always risk and money management because they kind of go together. It's how you manage your money is also connected to how you manage your risk. And we have formulas that we use when we're trading. So we know not to risk too much, but to risk the proper amount. So that's the second leg. And then the third leg, of course, is the hardest one of all. And we kind of touched upon it when you're placing that trade on the right edge of the chart. And you have to deal with the uncertainty of what's going to happen next. Could be the greatest trade in the world and it still loses because there's a random distribution of wins and losses with all trading no matter what. Nothing wins 100% of the time. So the third leg is the mastery of oneself. We call it the trader psychology leg. And you have to get all three right in order to succeed. But then there's a fourth component that I added later. Like this is an idea that I've used for a long time when teaching people how important it is to get these three things right. But what good is a three-legged stool if you don't set it down on a solid foundation, right? If it's a inclined gravel ramp or whatever, or quicksand or who knows what, it's unstable, the three-legged stool is useless. So I always say that you have to build a real strong trader foundation in order to succeed. And that makes sense if you think about it. And what is the trader foundation, though? That's what everyone says. Well, what is it? What is the trader foundation? And it's a synonym for belief. In other words, there are steps you have to go through to acquire the belief in the outcome of your trading system. If you just run that system mechanically and follow the rules, it's because you've already proven it will make you money. So now you believe in it because the random distribution of
Mm.
wins and losses still exists. You still have to deal with losing trades. Most people can't. That's where most people self-sabotage and most traders fail because a person trying to trade isn't meant to be a good trader and they're going to fail, right? Because we're going to run away from anything that we perceive as a threat, including the uncertainty of the outcome of the trade you're in. Your money's on the line and that represents your security. So it's real
Yes.
psychological, right? So the trader psychology is an important leg. But if you don't believe in what you're doing, you're going to do everything wrong. Like you might intellectually understand this. And you go, okay, I know this trade plan makes money and I think I can trade it and I think I can succeed with it. But then they find when the bullets start flying, in other words, they're in the live markets now and their money's on the line and there's a zero-sum game. They're going to win or lose. And the person on the other trade is going to win or lose. Every now and then it's a push. You might break even on some. But it's like trading is war at that point, and that's how people react. So you have to evolve and become something else. And I always say you have to. We all start out as a person trying to trade, but we have to evolve. There's a step-by-step process to do that, where you acquire the belief in what you're doing, and you become what I call the CEO of your trading business. So you treat your trading like a business, and you run it like a CEO would run their business. And so again, people understand the sense of it when I explain it and I go through the steps properly in a lot of the training that I do. In fact, maybe you might want to tell people about the training we want to invite your guests to, Backpack Trader Live.
Yeah, Troy, I mean, you're just giving so much awesome knowledge here. I want to make sure that I'm following along. But, talking about risk just to start with, right? That risk is obviously necessary when it comes to trading because like you said, right? Your trades, your systems are built off of past performance. So you understand how the market has worked in the past, so you can predict how it might work in the future, but there's always risk with it. But if you can use that risk strategically, as if you have a power tool, right? Power tool, there's a risk that you cut your hand off, but if you use it strategically, it can actually help you to grow. Am I sort of following along that correctly?
Yeah, I mean, you can't make money without risk. It's a necessary tool, or it could be or it could be an unnecessary evil. Like you don't want it to hurt you, but you need it to help you.
Yeah,
So, because
yeah.
without risk, you're not
Well,
going
that's
to
in
get money.
trading or any
Yeah,
business, right? If you're just sitting at home not doing
all
anything,
decisions in life are like a
decision.
trade if you think about it, because in the back of your mind, you're weighing out the if I do this, then that. It's like the if I give up this, then I get that. So you have this risk reward ratio that's always happening, and how you're always leveraging your decisions, however minute and small they are. But that they're all trades, really. It's just that a lot of it happens just instinctively or based on what we've learned in our life. It's all happening subconscious when we make these decisions. But trading is like that too, because you give up something to get something. That's what it is. And hopefully you're trading to something better, more value. You're giving up some value to hopefully acquire more value in the end.
And that's the same thing in life, right? You're giving something up, you're trading something out to get more. And you always have to risk it at first because you don't know that your projected future is always going to happen. But that's when you sort of swung around to this three-legged stool metaphor, right?
Hmm.
That is the strategy and methodology, like two being risk and money management, and then three being this trader psychology, right? Self mastery. If you have those three pieces of the puzzle together, that's sort of, it sounds like what makes for a good trader.
If you have that foundation of belief, because you can't really acquire, that's what the stool sits on, but you can't really acquire the necessary. The trader psychology of it happens. It's like that's a metamorphosis, this transformational process that occurs, especially when you go about it the right way, step by step. And so
Mhm.
that's super important because a lot of people go about it the wrong way, or they don't know what the steps are or what order they should do the steps in. And there is an order and there is a right way, because you can't talk yourself into becoming something else. That's something that you have to transform to. Like there's so much information about trading. We're bombarded by it, and they're often contradictory. One says this, one says that. Well,
Mhm.
what is it? Is it this or that? Well, it could be both or neither. I mean, a lot depends. And so I always tell people, you end up as a deer caught in the headlights of the oncoming car. That cliche metaphor that's so true. But I always tell people that we don't need more information. What we need is transformation. We need to transform from a person trying to trade, which is not natural and never works and leads to losses, but is how we all start out as. And we have to transform into what I call the CEO of our trading business, because it teaches us that it's the overall, it's all the trades you take are what's going to determine your financial future, whether it's good or bad.
Mhm.
And it could be really, really good
Mhm.
if you do it right. So you want to do it right. Trading's too important to get wrong. You want to get it right, you can, if you follow the steps properly. And then the transformation happens naturally, because there's a point in time when you're along that pathway that all the epiphanies happen. And you get all those aha moments and the lights going off, and you're all of a sudden you can't sleep anymore because you're so excited. You can't wait for tomorrow because you've had this breakthrough, and it's not just intellectually, it's something that you acquire, you transform into it if you do the steps right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you do the steps right, transforming into this CEO of your trading
Yeah.
business to build that solid foundation. And so yeah, you mentioned that you guys have a free 1 hour training on right actually starting up a trading business. Tell us just a little bit about it and where actually listeners can go to check out this free training?
Yeah, great. So it's called Backpack Trader Live, and it's a really great starter course. It's free. It's a webinar on demand, so you can basically do it at your convenience. Um, and it's easy to get to. It is
Yeah.
backpacktrader.com/legacy.
Backpack Trader Live is that free 1 hour training,
Yes.
backpacktrader.com/legacy. I like it. And so it talks a lot about this step-by-step process of becoming the CEO of our trading business. Give us a little bit of a look towards the inside, obviously not nearly as in depth as this 1 hour training is concerned, but what does this step-by-step process look like?
Well, it begins, and this is where a lot of people get it wrong. Imagine starting a journey and you're supposed to make that left turn at Albuquerque, and instead you take a right? Like the famous Bugs Bunny quote, which I've been using
Mm,
throughout my
mm,
life.
mm.
Should have taken that left turn at Albuquerque. You have to start on the right step, and most people don't. They get it wrong right from the start. And that's a step where you're doing some self-analysis. You're asking certain questions that you have to answer. Like most people don't know what to trade. They don't even know where to begin looking. How do I decide? The way you decide begins with your own personal situation, where you're located, when you can trade, when you can't trade, when you want to trade, when you don't want to trade. How much capital do you have to risk where if you lost it all tomorrow, you still wake up and your life hasn't materially changed? Like you're okay. You got kicked in the shins, but you
Mm,
didn't lose
mm,
your
mm.
legs, right? You never want to risk money that you can't afford to lose. That's a no no, and I don't recommend it ever. So, the risk capital, we don't want to lose it all. Obviously, we're going to not lose it all. We're going to do everything we can to make it and grow it. But if you were to lose it all, because trading's risky and you never know if the 100-year storm happens the day you decide to start trading or who knows what. But let's just say you lost it all. I don't want your life to be materially changed. I mean, tomorrow I want you to still be okay. It hurts, but you're okay, right? You didn't lose the farm
Mm,
or your
mm,
legs.
mm, mm.
So you answer certain questions about yourself, and then from there you determine, well, can I day trade? Or can I swing trade? Or can I do both? But which one should I start with? So day trading, you're getting in and out and you're done maybe an hour a day or less. Same time every day, same market, same chart. You get really good at it. You have a structured way to do it that you've proven will make you money. All right, those are further steps. But it all depends on your personal situation. Like if you can't show up to open up your dry cleaning store at 9 a.m. every day and you don't have an employee to do it for you either, don't open a dry cleaning store. Find a different
Sure.
business. And it's the
Yeah.
same with day trading. If you can't show up and trade at the time, because the next steps that follow is creating a trade plan that you can prove will make you money before you risk your money. And those are a series of steps, and you have to know what to be testing and proving, though. So, how do you decide that? That's still on the first step. So, we eliminate
Mhm,
everything that you
mhm.
probably shouldn't trade, and what's left are a few candidates, like through process of elimination. There's a few good choices, and that's what we work on. And if you can't day trade, because you're busy, you have another job, your schedule's erratic, you can't Monday through Friday show up at 9 a.m. New York time to trade crude oil for an hour or less Monday through Friday. If you can't do that or whatever, that's just an example. But if you can't, then you might choose to swing trade. And swing trading involves holding trades overnight or longer. It could be weeks, months, days, whatever the duration of a trade is. And you instead learn how to trade like that. And that kind of trading is the most backpack traderish way of trading because it takes the least amount of time. Like once it's built, then you should spend about 30 minutes a week or less.
30 minutes a
Or
week?
less. Yeah, because some days you might not have any trades. Other days there might be a few, you place them, takes you 10 minutes. Another day you might just have to move a stop loss to lock in some profit because it's going your way. Like there's a trade I'm in right now where I have to get in there and move the stop up and because it's marching its way towards its target, for example. And maybe that takes a minute. So and if it then it depends on how many symbols you're trading. So you could be as active as you
Uh,
want to be, but you can get it to that point where you're investing maybe 30 minutes a week on average, sometimes a little more, sometimes less, a few minutes a day basically. And it could be when you get home
Sure.
in the evening. You could set those trades up, and so that's a really great way to trade,
Wow.
right? A lot of people love to trade like that. It takes longer,
Sure.
it's slower, but you could trade also large volume like that because if you're trading stocks and options, and forex would be the two choices of, some people do it with crypto too, which my strategies don't work. They only work on certain charting platforms. So if I can't chart it, I'm not interested in trading it.
Oh,
But you could swing trade, you know,
nice.
to large size, or you can do both.
Royce, starting this, yeah, yes, starting this process, right, the step-by-step process, starting with
Mm.
self-analysis. I just want to repeat that because is so important, right? Check where you're at before getting started. All right. What can you afford to risk? What time of day can you treat trading like a business, not a get rich quick scheme? Is not what we're going for here, right? You talk a lot about how trading can help people escape the 9 to 5, right? And building a business that serves you, not consumes you. Talk to me a little bit more about that sort of mantra and belief of yours.
Yeah. So, well, like we were talking about before we started earlier, I think trading's the best business in the world for one, because you don't have the things that give most business owners headaches. No customers, no employees, no contractors, no supplies. All the things that require time and effort to manage, and managing people is the hardest of all, of course, in most cases. You only have yourself. You have yourself, your brain, your wits, your computer, your internet connection, and your way of trading, right? So you can do it
Mhm.
from anywhere. And why not have a business that only takes a few minutes a day or whatever, and gives you full time results even more, you know? Like I think I told you in the last interview we did, I did this trade at a cafe in Florence and had someone recording it from behind. And
Yeah.
the trade hit its entry and hit its targets faster than you can sneeze. I mean, the whole thing happened so quickly. I was in the trade, plenty of time to get in the trade. I had like a minute or two. I'm in the trade, but when it actually happened, it got in. It was a short trade. Crude oil was going down. That was what I was trading, and you could see it hit the entry and hit all the targets so fast. I was in and out and done. And then later, I'm at a bar with some people that I had met, and they're asking me what I did for a living. And I looked at them. I go, I work 2 minutes today. What do you do for a living? And I was just being silly after a couple beers or whatever. But when they asked me what I did, I could see their eyes instantly glaze over, and then I changed the subject. That happens a lot with traders. Like, a trader. A trader would be interested. But a
Yeah.
lot of people that as soon as you start talking that, it's like you're speaking Greek to them or something.
Yeah. How long does it take to actually get to this point? Because when I think of trading, and I don't know that much, but I think of people sitting in front of a computer staring at charts for 12 hours a day. What does it take to go from that to actually 30 minutes a week?
Well, starting on the right step, for one, because anyone sitting in their chair trading 12 hours a day skipped a bunch of steps. And they're probably not only sitting there 12 hours a day, but their eyeballs are turning into corkscrews, and they're probably nursing a bad case of hemorrhoids, too. So, no fun. We don't need another job. That's not why we're trading. We need to use trading to fire our boss and not have to have a job. So, it's a different mindset. That's how I think of it. If the trade plan says when you hit your goal, like let's look at day trading. It's the easiest way to explain this. If you're trading at the most an hour a day, but if the trade hits your goals, let's say the goal is to hit a certain target and have a winning result. In other words, more money than you started with, and you have an hour
Mhm.
to do that, and you could get anywhere from say 1 to 10 trades inside of that hour. And let's say you hit your goal on the very first trade. You don't have to keep trading. You've already hit your goal. We call that power of quitting. It's my 12 Powers to Successful Trading ebook, which they can get from my website, backpacktrader.com. But it basically tells us that we are now empowered to quit trading. We can close our shop and go live our best life today. And you're trading to live a better life, right? You're trading to make money. So you don't have to keep trading. There's a random distribution of all wins and losses. I mean, to all trading strategies. There's a random distribution of wins and losses. So you're going to win more, hopefully, than you lose, but you are going to lose some. So what's to say when you hit your goals and you made your objective for that day that the next two trades don't lose and you give your winners right back again? Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the strategy or the plan. It just means that the random distribution has now, played some dirty tricks on you. What if you just kept your money and you're done in 2 minutes, like my cafe in Florence example? I mean, isn't that better? So here's our goal for day trading. You want to win a vast majority of your sessions while controlling your drawdown with minimal and efficient trading. Okay, you want to quit with a winning result a vast majority of the time while controlling your drawdown with minimal and efficient trading. You should learn how to say that over and over until it just rolls off your tongue like a mantra, because that's what keeps you growing. And at some point, if you do that, you're going to give yourself a raise by moving your finger from the 1 to the 2. You're going to increase your position size because now you've grown your account over time enough where the formula says you can now add another contract. Now you're going to make twice as much, and you're not going to work twice as hard, though. You're going to do exactly the same thing. And then by the time you go from the 2 to the 3, it takes half that amount of time. You're going to go up and down. You might go back to 1 again, then back to 2. There's formulas that tell us how much to risk, how large of a position, but ultimately it's going to grow to 4 and then to 5, and then you ultimately hit an exponential curve. And that's how you leverage. You're not working any harder, but you're making a whole heck of a lot more money, right? Because your business is growing. It's the metaphor of the business growing without having to work harder. So that's why it's such a great business, but that's also why it's important to quit with your winnings when you hit your goal, because over time, if you're winning 80% of your sessions, you're going 4 steps forward, 1 step back, 4 steps forward, 1 step back. That's the formula to all your financial dreams, basically, in life.
Huge success.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
And then
formula for
so,
huge success.
so who wants to work harder and then put all that at risk? And now all you're doing is working harder. The hemorrhoids are getting worse, and your performance isn't really. You're maybe losing money, not making money. So how's that any better?
Mm.
It's not. It's a lot worse, in my opinion.
It's definitely not. Troy, let's take two steps back here,
Okay.
right? Because trading to a lot of people, it's like there's so much risk, is what it feels like, especially when you think about day trading, right? It feels like there's so much risk. Your step-by-step process that you talked about earlier, right? Starts with self-analysis, right? What time do you want to trade? How much can you afford to risk in the beginning? And then you actually talk about creating this proven trade plan also, right? To test and prove it. It seems to me that you need to be really emotionally stable to be able to go into this line of work, because it feels like so much like, oh, I'm going to start today and I'm going to go from the 1 to the 2 and then to the 3, and like I'm going to quit my job next week. Talk to me, like, realistically, when people get into trading, like how long does it take for them to scale up, especially with the power of quitting is so important, is what I'm hearing. You need to be emotionally stable to say, you know what, I just won, I hit my goal, now I'm going to quit. I'm not here to be an overnight success. So how long does it actually take? What does that process look like?
Yeah, that was actually the question you asked before we got into some of these
Yeah, yeah.
sidetrack. But so there's a formula that we actually have a workshop that we offer, and it's a capital growth workshop. And the major point of it is to teach you the power of that second leg of the stool, risk and money management. And there's a
Mm.
formula. If you start with the right amount of capital, it's $25,000. Let's say you have $25,000 you could risk on trading, and you're going to risk 2% on any given trade. A trade plan trade, a trade that tells you what to do, and you've proven it, you believe in it, and now you're going to go ahead and risk 2% on any given trade that happens during your session. And the if you do that within 24 months, well, the benchmark is you want to be able to make $50 a day average net profit. When you're done with your session, you've made $50 a day. When you net out all the wins and losses over a lot of sessions, your net result is $50 per contract. So it starts off, let's say,
Nice.
with one. You haven't given yourself yet a raise. You haven't gone to the two yet. But if you can average $50 a day average net profit per contract, within 24 months, you can grow that to a $10,000 a month income with just money management.
Well,
If your strategy will put $50 a day net profit into your account on average. So some days you'll lose, and other days you'll win more. But when it all averages out to $50 a day per contract, and about 6 months down the road, yeah, you make a certain amount of money, and this is all predetermined and pre-planned. We actually give a spreadsheet that helps you figure this stuff out. But you start paying yourself $1,000 a month. Then a few months might
mm,
pass, and eventually you hit a threshold, and you're probably increasing your position size at some point. You can now afford to pay yourself 2,000 a month. So it's all based on this formula. And then faster still, you're at 3,000. By the time you get to 24 months, you should be close to 10,000 a month, and your $25,000 account would have grown to almost $250,000. And that's just by making
yeah.
$50 a day average net profit per
Well,
contract, right? But a ten contract trade is 2,500 bucks.
mm, mm. Nice. Okay, so that's a
Or did I
perfect. Thank
say
you for
that
answering
wrong?
that.
10
So
contract trade is 500 bucks. But
500, yeah, for
500.
$50
Yeah,
profit, right? Per day, per contract is the goal.
$50.
So 25,000 is a sort of a good threshold for someone to be able to work those easy numbers
Yeah, but
of
not
then your goal is
necessarily
going to be
because
$50 profit
I
per
mean,
day.
yeah, if you want to follow that exact model, but it's really meant to teach
Sure,
us the power of compounding. And so if you're starting with less,
definitely.
you got to adjust the numbers, but as long as you're hitting certain metrics, you're going to be able to grow your account, and eventually you're going to add position size, and eventually, so think of a ramp. Let's think of a 2 to 5 year trajectory, right? And you got a ramp, but the ramp doesn't just go up like this. The ramp is very low to the ground for a while, and then eventually it
Mm.
turns into this, you hit an exponential curve. So I always use the
Super
metaphor of the
steep incline.
jumbo jet
Yeah.
rolling down the runway. And it's a big jet, and it's a big long runway, and it's got to get enough velocity to get off, to get air under its wings, right? Maybe it hits a few air
Mhm.
pockets and
Mm.
bounces off the runway a little, but eventually it takes flight. So that's the trader now starting to increase position size. But it took that front end of building up that velocity to get to the point where it can get off the runway, right? And that's how long it took for the trader to finally be able to go from one contract to two. And so eventually, though, the airplane goes tips up so far it becomes a rocket ship. Uh, and for the trader, if you're thinking of that as a time trajectory of 2 to 5 years, whatever, you're only going to make 20% of your money in that first 80% of that time trajectory. And you're going to make 80% of your money in that final 20% of that time trajectory. But it's that first 80%, that beginning part is where most traders don't make it through that because they feel like they're either losing or they're spinning their wheels and not making any progress. And they have to realize that, like any business, businesses take time to grow and become profitable, and you have to treat it like that, like the business that you're. So, but if you have a trade plan and you've proven it and you know your numbers, because when in the process of proving a trade plan will make you money, you're getting the numbers and the metrics that you need to make good trading decisions and to make sure that plan is going to serve you well into the future. And these are the steps. This is why doing the steps properly are so important.
I love that, right? So honestly, everybody, I'm gonna go take this free 1 hour training also,
Yeah.
right? You mentioned backpacktrader.com/legacy because it's this taking the steps by step process. And Troy, I love how you keep referring to this as a true business. That's what it is. Treat it that way. I think, today with especially with crypto, everyone hears these crazy overnight success, get rich quick stories with trading. I think that sort of has at least I don't want to say poisoned my mind, but it's like that's what I think. When I think of trading, I think of get rich quick. But it's like, no, treat it like a business. There's very few businesses that you could have a projection for after 24 months for having $10,000 per month profits stably, right? Even what do they say? It's like 99% of businesses fail within the first 5 years. It's like have that understanding of like longevity, treat it like a business, and it'll pay you back like one, right?
Yeah, I mean, but and that's something you have to learn. It's like again, we're smart enough to see the sense in this, but you have to acquire a belief in it on a deeper level because on a primal basis, we're still human beings and we're still going to try to run away from anything we perceive as a threat against our survival. And that's what the uncertainty of a trade feels like. And then when the trade starts going against you, when you're expecting it to go in your
Mm.
direction to make you money and instead of taking away and going against you, it causes you to do a bunch of things to stop the pain, stop that feeling
Mm.
of uncertainty and insecurity and that threat that you're feeling deep down on a primal level. So that's why you have to go through a transformational process, and we do that with our money safe on the sidelines. By the way, we don't have to do that risking our money. That's the mistake most people make is they put their money at risk before they're ready to, when they're still just a person trying to trade. And then the market, the school of hard knocks is a very expensive tuition, and it's gonna exact its fare from you. It's gonna take its fees from
Yeah.
you, like it or not, and it's gonna cost you a lot more than if you just would have invested in yourself to learn how to do this the proper way the first time. It would have saved you so much money, time, and grief. And a lot of people who end up flaming out and quitting, then there's opportunity
Mhm.
costs that they lose because now they're no longer trading. So it's like the
Yep.
costs are massive if you don't do it right. And you can do it right. That's
Yeah.
the beauty of
Yeah.
this. You can make that decision. So why not make
Man,
that decision?
it sounds to me, yeah, make the decision to do it
Yeah,
right, right? Again, when
why
I
not?
question I asked earlier of why are people trading 12 hours a day in front of a computer? What's the difference? How do you go from there to where you are? It's doing things right. It's setting that proper foundation, learning correctly. And it sounds to me also like one of the steps in this process is you sort of practicing also before actually entering live markets, or did I understand that wrong?
Yeah, that's one of the steps for sure. So you go through this process of creating a trade plan, proving it. There's a certain way to do it, definite steps you want to get it right. And then when let's say you have it, let's say okay, now I like really believe in this. You've gone through some changes internally because you could see now you've learned how to live with that famous Clint Eastwood movie, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. But then I always add and the
Mm.
great and the mediocre. So the good, the bad, the ugly, the great, the mediocre, because that's what trading is. You're going to experience all of that. And when you experience the ugly, which is the least pleasant of all, but it's also what you need the most. It's the medicine. It causes you to do what human beings try to do, which is to stop that ugliness, the pain, the threat.
Mm.
But
Mm.
then after you've seen all the great come in and you've witnessed the account would have grown despite the ugly, and you're developing this random distribution of wins and losses, win loss column of all the results of your trading, all still in a simulation account and doing it following the rules of your trade plan, and you can see that your account's growing, that's when the epiphanies start. Because then you realize what making money as a trader really is. It's what the trade plan produces for you over time. It's not whether a trade wins or loses, because that's going to happen. They're both going to win. Trades will win,
Mm.
trades will lose. What does that mean? You still have to take another trade. That's what we do. We're traders. We trade. We have to keep trading. So what good is it if you know you're so worried about whether a trade wins or loses? That's like the the boss of the dry cleaning business is like can't handle it because a customer came in complaining that the white garment has still got the red wine stain in it. And so now the owner's going to pull his hair out and go crazy and shut his business down, open
Quit.
up a deli tomorrow or
Yeah.
whatever, because that's what traders do. Is like they might have something really good, but just because they couldn't get the red stain out of the white blouse, they have a losing trade. Oh my God. They all of a sudden stop the pain, throw it away, throw the baby out with the bathwater. Could win 90% of the time. It just so happened it lost 10 in a row. The
Yeah.
100-year storm happened. That could happen. That does happen. Doesn't mean it's not a great strategy that wins 90% of the row in a row. You can still throw that out, or you can
Yeah.
just keep working it until you make that money back. And it's like those are things that you have to acquire, that belief and understanding from a higher point of view.
Yeah, see, the plan exists for a reason, and so you believe in it, not your day-to-day, moment-to-moment emotions. Troy, you've helped thousands of students. What's the difference between a successful student and one not so much?
It's funny because I've got my flagship training program. It's called the CEO Trader Mastermind, right? And the whole idea is to take someone from the person trying to trade step by step to becoming a CEO of their trading business. And what I've noticed over the years doing this is there are those that actually do that. Okay, so that's someone who I believe is succeeding. One guy came in knowing zero. We have a really good video from him. He gave us a testimonial way back when, telling his story on how he started knowing nothing, and then he talks about how this changed his life. And right now, today, he's calling a live trade room. That's how I started 100 years ago,
Mm.
and he's calling a live trade room using his trade plan after going through the steps and proving it. Now he's trading his trade plan live Monday through Friday in a trade room in front of everyone who wants to come in and join him. And like I'm really proud of him because he's living it, he's doing it, right, and he's unwavering because he's transformed himself, right. He's running it like a CEO. He's a model. He's It's really great how he's practicing what he's preaching, because now he's preaching the same thing I was, right. He's a believer. He's
Yeah,
done it.
yeah.
So that's someone I call as successful. He's succeeding. He's doing it. He's become the CEO. Whereas other people are still on step one. It's like, why can't you move off of step one? What's the problem? Let me help you. Or they're stuck on a step, and
Mm.
for whatever reason, they just don't want to. So there's a lot of people that, like, intellectually, everyone's smart enough to understand this. It has to come from something deeper inside. And so the steps are designed to transform you from deeper inside so that you acquire it. Just like riding a bike, right? Can anyone take that away from you when you learn how to ride a bike? They can't, right? Wayne,
Yeah.
you can no longer ride a bike. Why? Because I say so. You're going to fall down every
Uh-huh.
time now. And then you're going to get on your bike and ride it. And I'm going to look like an idiot because it's an idiotic thing to say to someone, because it's not possible. You can't take that away from someone. And it's the same thing with trading. If you do it right, yeah, you're going to fall down. You're going to hurt yourself a little bit, but it's going to be done safe with nothing at risk. You're only going to feel like bruised ego and things like that. That's not has nothing to do with trading anyway. So that's how you get over that, right? But once you
Yeah.
learn it, and there are steps where you're going to practice executing your plan once you've got that. It's a step down the pathway, certain place. No one can ever take that away from you. Like, you're going to have a skill for life, and that's what makes this the best business in the world. Because once you have that, you do it from anywhere, pretty much. I mean, within reason.
Well,
You're not going to go to the top of Mount Everest and try to trade, because the satellite uplinks doesn't give you, streaming data, and maybe you could place a swing trade. I don't know, but what's the point?
yeah,
Don't
sounds like a good PR
I
stunt for you,
know, but
Troy.
don't go to Everest and place a trade. I placed a trade at the cafe in Florence. That was fun. I mean, that's not Mount Everest,
Yeah.
but it's Italy. So it's like,
No,
I'd rather be there.
let's keep doing more than that. Yeah, no, definitely same here. Troy, so as we sort of wrap up, right? I know like last time we talked about legacy and what it means to you. So let's take this a little bit of a spin on it, right? Let's say that we're, 50 or 100 years down the line. When people are thinking back about Troy and Backpack Trader, what are you hoping that they say about the impact that you made?
Well, one of the things I can do to help make the world a better place is helping people improve their own financial situation and their lives, winning their time back. I mean, it's a good question, but one of the answer is really obvious, because one of the things I always ask people in my training is, if I had to ask you what's more important to you, time or money, what do you think most people say? Time. Most people do say time. Every now and then someone says money. Money is time, I guess, if you think about it. But time is the only commodity that we continue to spend without ever knowing the true balance, right? We just spend, 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 but we never know when our time's going to be up. So a lot of people will initially say, gee, I'd love to do what you do, but I just don't have the time. And I'm like, you don't have the time to invest a little bit up front, like the time it takes to build a house. That's time consuming. It's a lot of steps. But once the house is built, how hard is it to walk through the door and live in the house and enjoy the house? So it's like when you build the trade plan properly, and you only have to spend 30 minutes a week or less to run it, or an hour a day or less. That one trade took 2 minutes, for example, day trade. Don't you win your time back? So like, I don't have the time. Oh, that's why you want to do this, because that's how you win your time back. Because you'll never complain you don't have the time anymore, unless you just don't have the time because you're too busy sipping a Coco Loco on the beaches of, you name it, your favorite place or whatever, right? So that's kind of like, people invent reasons why they don't want to succeed at whatever thing, not just trading, but some people are just afraid of success, or they're afraid of failure, but all those fears are self-imposed and they don't have to be real. You could change your narrative, you can reinvent yourself. There's a step-by-step way to do it, and it's not that hard. It's just a matter of following steps. So if someone isn't coachable and won't follow steps, won't follow the plan, and resist the temptation to drink from a fire hose and get blasted with way too much information, just drink it one glass of water at a time and take baby steps. You go a great distance quicker than you think with just baby steps. And so that's my approach to teaching people. And if I could show people how to do that, a certain amount of them are going to change their lives in a way that's going to be amazing for them and their family. And to me, that's me contributing in my small way to help make the world a better place. I mean, why not? Why not do that?
Yeah.
So, can help.
I love that. Honestly, you're helping to change people's narrative, helping them to reinvent themselves,
It
right?
has to come
Through
from
what you said,
within.
just
It has to come from them.
baby steps.
But I offer them the blueprint, the way, and the knowledge, and the training, and then of course there's the community of other traders doing it also. So there's this big support mechanism. Everyone helps everyone. So
Beautiful.
it's not a competition, that's for sure, and it's certainly available to whoever wants to use the markets the right way with as little time needed to get to their financial goals, so that they can call their own shots in life. The backpack trader lifestyle of freedom is why my business is called the Backpack Trader, right? Because it's a symbol of the freedom that you get if you get trading right. You don't have to schlep a backpack around if you don't want to. You can trade from the Orient Express, your own sofa, anywhere in between. You decide. And so that's what's more free. I mean, that's beautiful, right? Unless you're just already wealthy and you don't need to trade, and then you're even more free. But most of us aren't. Most of us have to earn that, right? It doesn't just come to us. And those that it does come to
Yeah.
easily, how lucky are they really? I don't know too many that actually enjoy their lives. So maybe that's not the way to do it either.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, there's definitely a lesson in there
Yeah.
also. Troy, thank you so much for coming back on. For I mean, all these people that are curious, they're wanting to change their lives. Tell us again, where's the best place to go and go learn more?
Yeah. So I want to invite all your listeners to my free training, Backpack Trader Live. And you can easily get there by going to backpacktrader.com/legacy. Journey to Legacy, the name of your channel. So legacy, backpacktrader.com/legacy. And then you can register and you can watch it at your convenience. It's kind of like an on-demand webinar. And you'll learn a lot. I mean, at least you'll know, if you invest an hour of time, whether you want to go further with it or not. That's just a good intro to investigate if trading is the way for you to go, especially the backpack trader style, which is trading as little as possible and living your best life day to day.
And there it is, everybody. That's a wrap. Let me know what you think. Man, every time I talk to Troy, I walk away with a little more clarity and definitely confidence about how trading can be sustainable, not just these random one off wins. A couple things that stood out for me today is the reminder that more isn't always better, especially in trading, honestly, in life, but it's having a system that you follow that is going to compound over time and bring you sustainability, right? You're not shooting for that overnight success, just those overnight random wins. Troy talked about how freedom doesn't come from grinding harder, right? It comes from having that clear system and sticking to it. And also that legacy isn't some big thing that you leave behind. It's how you show up right now for yourself, for your family, for those around you, the impact that you're making on others. If this hit home for you, please do me a favor, share it with someone who needs to hear it. If you're new here, go check out Troy's first episode that we recorded a couple months back. There's some great extra tips there. And please, as always, hit the subscribe button to help us to grow the show. Until next week, everybody, same time, same place. You've been listening to Journey to Legacy, and I'll see you soon.